Hello and welcome to Outside Views. Today we're diving into the frustrations surrounding Brexit uncertainty and its impact on Gibraltar, a British overseas territory that has found itself caught in the crosshairs of ongoing negotiations and unresolved tensions. Gibraltar has long been a unique case in Britain's post-Brexit reality, serving as a focal point for debates about sovereignty, trade and fair competition, and it's so ongoing that I've talked about this a lot of times already. The situation in Gibraltar highlights some of the broader issues stemming from Brexit: prolonged uncertainty, conflicting interests, and a lack of clear direction for the future. Negotiations over Gibraltar's future relationship with the European Union have dragged on for years without resolution. And these talks aim to establish a treaty that addresses critical issues, including cross-border mobility, economic prosperity, and fair taxation. However, progress has been painfully slow, and this uncertainty is taking a toll on local businesses, workers, and the overall community. The Chief Minister, Fabian Picardo, has been a vocal advocate for Gibraltar throughout these negotiations. He has highlighted key challenges, particularly regarding the so-called level playing field. The issue revolves around allegations, mainly from Spain, that Gibraltar's tax and pricing structures create an unfair advantage over Spanish businesses. But as at least Mr. Picardo has pointed out repeatedly, the reality is far more complex. Gibraltar is a small territory with a population of just over 30,000 people. It has limited natural resources, higher operating costs, and unique economic constraints. In most cases, goods in Gibraltar are actually more expensive than in neighboring Spain. And this is due to factors like import costs, limited economies of scale, and Gibraltar's reliance on external suppliers. One of the most contentious points in these negotiations is the issue of VAT rates. The EU mandates a minimum VAT rate of 15%, but member states have some flexibility for essential goods like food and medicine. In Spain, the standard VAT rate is 21%, and in contrast, Gibraltar operates outside the EU VAT framework altogether, allowing it to set its own tax policies. However, Spain has pushed for Gibraltar to adopt tax rates closer to its own, arguing that the current system creates disparities. For Gibraltar, this demand is a non-starter. As Mr. Picardo has said, adopting Spanish tax rates would place an enormous burden on Gibraltar's businesses, many of which are already struggling to compete. The tax issue has significant implications for local retailers. At a recent town hall meeting organized by the Gibraltar Federation of Small Businesses, or GFSB, these concerns were laid bare. The meeting brought together local business owners, policymakers, and community members to discuss the potential impact of a treaty. One retailer described the situation as a David and Goliath scenario, with small Gibraltar businesses struggling to compete against larger Spanish firms that benefit from lower costs and economies of scale. Another major concern is the issue of cross-border shopping. If a treaty guarantees border mobility, Gibraltarians might be tempted to shop in Spain for cheaper goods, further reducing local retail sales. At the same time, proponents of the treaty argue that it could bring significant benefits, such as opening up Gibraltar's retail sector to the EU market. And this would give local businesses access to over 500 million potential customers, creating new opportunities for growth. But the reality is more complicated. Local businesses often rely on regular customers rather than tourists. As one Main Street retailer noted, busy tourist days don't always translate into higher sales. In fact, an influx of tourists can sometimes deter locals from visiting their usual shops. And this paradox underscores the uncertainty surrounding the treaty's potential impact. The border issue adds yet another layer of complexity. A hard border would severely disrupt the daily lives of the 15,000 cross-border workers who commute to Gibraltar from Spain. And these workers are vital to Gibraltar's economy, filling essential roles in sectors like healthcare, construction, and retail. And recent incidents of tightened immigration controls have already caused chaos during rush hour, offering a glimpse of what could happen if border mobility is restricted any further. For Gibraltar's businesses, the uncertainty is crippling. Without clarity on what the treaty might entail, many are unable to invest in growth or prepare for potential challenges. And this frustration was palpable at the GFSB meeting, where one businessman summed up the mood by saying, "All we hear is talk, 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 but we seem to be getting nowhere." Negotiators, meanwhile, have avoided setting firm deadlines, emphasizing the need for thorough discussions rather than rushed decisions. Adding to the frustration is the lack of transparency in these negotiations. From the outset, all sides, Gibraltar, Spain, the UK and the EU, have kept the details under wraps. This secrecy has left businesses and residents in the dark, fueling speculation and uncertainty. Brexit's ripple effects on Gibraltar extend beyond the treaty. The rise of online shopping has created additional challenges for local retailers who must now compete with global e-commerce giants. Unregistered Spanish businesses operating in Gibraltar further complicate the landscape, creating an uneven playing field. Despite these challenges, there is still cautious optimism among some stakeholders. A treaty could bring significant opportunities if handled correctly. For instance, guaranteed border mobility could boost tourism, increasing food traffic in Gibraltar's retail areas. Similarly, access to the EU market could create new avenues for growth in sectors like finance and technology. But these potential benefits hinge on the outcome of the negotiations, which remain fraught with complexity and, of course, competing interests. For many in Gibraltar, the prolonged uncertainty has led to a sense of weariness. The community is eager for clarity and resolution, but the path forward remains unclear. As we look ahead, the key question is whether negotiators can deliver a deal that balances these competing interests. Will Gibraltar's businesses get the clarity and support they need to thrive, or will the prolonged uncertainty leave them struggling to adapt in an increasingly challenging environment? For now, one thing is clear: Gibraltar's future and its ability to navigate these challenges depends solely on the outcome of these negotiations. So thank you for watching Outside Views again, and if you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the real-world impacts of Brexit and the challenge it brings to communities across the UK and beyond. And if you want to see another video, the next is right here in the end screen.